and know where to find it. So let's get going. I want to thank you for putting in the information of one habit that you're wanting to add. I think that that's a really big deal for all of us, is kind of like even what Reagan was saying, like to take it to the next level is to say, okay, this is where I am, but I know that I can up that. I know that I can increase that. And that's what I love about habit stacking, is because you're already doing some things well, and you can pull something in and kind of do a sticky note to it, like it sticks together to be able to do that. And I don't know if y'all listened to my live, and I know Chris, I tagged you, I think this morning or last night, I don't remember, that I did last week in regards to the 7, not 6, the 7 areas that you can look at and say, how can I get to the next level? So what is it that I can do? What habit do I need to stop? And what habit do I need to bring into my life that will take me to the next level? Because we're always wanting to better ourselves. But whenever we look at those 7 areas, which I bet I can't say them off the top of my head, but maybe, it is health and wellness, spirituality, mission, finances, relationships, love. What is it? Number 7. I always forget the last one.
Career?
Career. Maybe. That's it. It's probably right here. It's probably right here with all my notebooks. But anyway, like looking at all those different areas in your life and then saying, like, rating yourself 1 to 10 and then saying, how can I go to the next level? I think when we're really intentional with that, and we even look at it from a 90-day quarterly basis, it gets kind of exciting. And I will say, as we get started here, I'm so excited about the success, what is it, sprint, y'all? Okay, can I just confess, I've been up since a little bit before 3, couldn't sleep, went ahead and got out of bed. And so literally, I'm not sure all my words are gonna get out tonight, because I can tell that my clock is slowing down. But anyway, the thing that I love about this, talking about habits and 90 days and things like that, is I feel like it's like whenever your personal life and your professional life start like colliding together, of just God saying, this is what you need to look at. But I'm really, really excited about the forward thinking that Plexus has. I'm thankful that they really look at behavior patterns. They look at where we've been, where we're going, how they want to develop us, and they develop us through these programs. These programs are here to incentivize us, to recognize us, for us to get excited about what we're doing. But these programs are here to develop us as businessmen and women, as leaders, as people that are impacting communities, because they know if they can develop us in this space, as we know, that's not compartmentalized. It goes across all areas of our life. Just like whenever we do personal development for a career, it goes across everything. And so that excites me of what they're doing, for us to start seeing longer stretches. And we should always be looking at years. But if you look at the way that we do our months and the way that our sales go up and down, you really do see that we scrunch it. And whenever you look at our retention, the way that we recruit versus the way that we retain, you can see that we, as a community of people, have not developed well in some of these different areas. And I feel like corporate is just nailing it for us to really say, don't look at 1 month, look at 3, and don't look at 3 months, look at 4 quarters. And that's pushing us out. And guess what? As we do that, we're going to grow into the idea of, what does a 3-year plan look like? What does a 5-year plan look like? And it's not just about this business. It's a 3-year plan of what this business is going to do for us to impact the world around us, and being able to build that out. So that gets me excited. It also gets me excited because I'm hoping that all of us really get to a place where we're saying, how can I get to the next level? And what do I need to do with some of these ridding old habits, bringing in new habits? And then lastly, which we're going to be talking about it here in a little bit, but one thing that Craig and I did as we worked through those 7 areas and talked through it, was we want to incorporate in 2021 90-day vacations. And so Brenda Burchard, Kim, the gentleman that I was telling you about, it's an area that he really speaks about. Michael Hyatt speaks towards 90-day focuses. He doesn't call them sprints or pushes, he calls them focus, and just looking at your quarterly focuses. But Brendan is the one that kind of introduced me to the idea of 90-day vacation. And so as we talk about this, I want you to start saying, what is my 90-day celebration? So what is a 90-day celebration? It might be dinner out, weekend away, going shopping with a girlfriend. Like, what is that special thing that you could do to say, I'm going to start looking at my chunks and I'm going to work really hard, not just a month at a time and be exhausted, but I'm going to work really hard at 3 months chunks, and then I'm going to celebrate. And so I got really excited whenever this was introduced to us, because it was something that Craig and I had already talked about, of doing these 90-day focus areas and then kind of getting away, whatever that looks like. It might be camping in the backyard, but getting away and saying, okay, we're going to rest, we're going to reset, and then we're going to do another 90-day focus. So really excited about all those different pieces, but I want us to get started, and I want to share my screen. How many of you guys use plexusworldwide.com/incentives? Anybody use that space? Chris, okay, so that's where we're gonna go to first, because I want us to look at this together. We're gonna look at this plan in 2 different ways, depending on how you learn. We'll hopefully look at it at both ways. But this is the plexusworldwide.com/incentives. It has all of your information here. But whenever you come down to your success sprints, if you will click on this, you're going to be able to see the fullness of what this is about. And like I said, this contest is a contest where it never changes, which is super exciting. We're going to focus, we're going to become experts around this, we're going to learn, we're going to look at behavior patterns of ourselves, of our teams. We're really going to hone in on retention. We're really going to hone in on onboarding, which we're going to talk about all those pieces that are so critical. But I want us to look at this and kind of talk through a couple of the different pieces. The areas that we are focusing on, which is what we focused on in 2020, we're expanding it, if you will, is recruiting, retaining, and development. So we're staying in that space that gives legacy, that gives longevity, that helps us build up and build a really strong foundation. And the things that I want you to see is there's 2 different ways that can qualify here. You've got your new ambassador with a welcome pack, or you have your customer that is a $75 order. So it does have a qualification if it's going to be a preferred customer. And then the other piece that I really want you to see is and we're going to talk about this whenever I've got some task that is going to be your homework. And one of those areas is this piece right here, first time ever career ambassador. So what does that mean? It means that if you have a wholesale ambassador that's been with you for a really long time, but never done the business, never enrolled someone themselves, they have this as well, and they get a bonus of these 25 points. That's a really big deal. We're going to touch on it again later, but I want you to be able to see that. And then it just goes through your level 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s of the different credits you get. What I love about this plan, and I'm going to keep emphasizing it over and over again, the retention piece is the biggest piece. And this is a joy to me that we are focusing like this, because I want to see hands of how many people look at their Plexus reports every single day. Okay, how many people look at their Plexus reports? Let me see, I can't see all you guys. Once a week. Okay, somebody has a system, y'all have systems down that you are following, because this is the area that we go 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 4 steps forward, 6 steps back. People get frustrated, people get burned out, all those different things because of the way that we onboard, how we're following up. If you're not onboarding well, if you're not following up well, then you're not retaining. And so we're doing all this hard work, but we're not seeing longevity in it. So they're actually going to start focusing. That's going to be a key area. We've got excellent recruiters in this organization, but many of you, how many of you feel like I'm an excellent recruiter, but I really could do better at onboarding, following up, and retaining, right? Like we all need to become experts in that area. So then if you look here, and this was a big question that I really want us to clear up. I've listened to a couple of different trainings today. I had a corporate call this afternoon, asked this question, made sure I asked the question again, had the question in writing. And that is in regards to the 3 ambassadors that you get a 25 bonus credit per month. Big question out there. It's going all over the place of can you stack that? So if you get 3 people, you get 25 points. If you get 6, you get 50 points. And if you get 9, you get 75 points. You cannot stack. It is a maximum of 25 points. So I just want to make sure that we all see that as we're building out our map of what it's going to look like for us and how big we're dreaming and what we want to do with our business, to make sure that you understand that and make sure that you explain that to your team in that way. The next thing that I really want us to look at is this retention. So you've got the recruiting and then you've got the retention. So your first month, you bring on your new ambassador, you get 10 points. Then you start retention. You get 20 credits for your second month. So you've kept them now for 60 days. And then you get another 25 points for 90 days. We've talked so much about getting those commitments, making sure that they fully understand it's not overnight, it takes time, we're going to have to work through detox. Let's make sure that we set a regimen that is perfect for you. That is where this comes into play, where you are excellent at customer service. This is also where it comes into play that your people understand Plexus perks, understand subscriptions, understand the importance of consistency, all of those different things. I want you to write those things down because you're going to start scripting yourself how to speak, how to share that, making sure that you hit those points to where it's just natural for you. Every time you have a conversation, it just flows out of your mouth to be able to do that. So that is your retention side of being able to see it, and you have it for your 1s through 4s. So you're going to get credit on training your team and helping them do the same thing. One thing that I wanted to share with you guys as we talk about this right here is the Plexus perks. This past week, I had the privilege of talking I called probably 20 people myself, and then I had 2 or 3 of our leaders call some of their people, and I got feedback from them. But we were calling because we had a huge amount of people in the fullness of the organization that were losing up to 1,250 points. And so I'm like, I'm not just sending an email, which by the way, I do send emails. I'm not just going to message them. I'm going to get on the phone with them. I'm going to introduce myself and we're going to talk. It was a beautiful, eye-opening process. And so I really want to empower you to take control of your business and to take control of your future. And number 1, explain Plexus points at the beginning of your entire conversation as you are recruiting and onboarding, and continuing that conversation after you bring them on as you're signing them up and explaining to them the importance of that subscription staying on so that they can stay consistent with the products, and talking to them about detox and talking to them about how you're going to increase those capsules as they go, all those conversations, and then coming back around afterwards. The great conversations that I got to have were, did you know that you had Plexus perks? No, I didn't. Do you know what they are? No, I don't. Did your upline, the person that invited you, which I know who those people were, did they share that with you whenever you started? No, never heard of it. Have you ever been in your back office? Do you know how to do your own subscription? Do you know why you lost the book? Like, I didn't ask it like that, but that's what I asked. I got to ask those great questions. I got to ask, how were you onboarded? Can you tell me a little bit? And I mean, I was great. I highly respect if you want to not take our products. It's not for everybody, but I'd love to know why it didn't work for you. Do you mind sharing with me? They hadn't even been onboarded. So we have huge gaps in our organization that this system and these success sprints are going to get us so excellent at what we do, why we do it, how we serve, and it's going to empower us because we're all doing this business because we want a future, we want a career, we want an income in some way, if it's $500 a month or $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. I mean, so, but to do those things means that we have to do really small things every single day. Where it gets overwhelming is whenever we wait till the very last minute and we might have 10, 15, 20 people to call and we've not been doing it at all. And now we don't know what to say, how to say it. We get very intimidated and then we don't do anything and then we lose our entire organization and all of our points. And then we say, I don't know if that's for me. And that this is a very, very simple practice for us to go through. So this is an area that we're going to highly focus on. We're going to measure ourselves in this space and we're going to get really good at it. And it's going to build up our confidence. Is everybody in with me on that? Everybody's excited about that? I'm super excited about the way that they have set this up and what they're doing. Now, this is another area that I really want us to understand. Our subscriptions, of course, for us to be qualified and to be able to get points, to be qualified, you know, we do have to have our subscriptions turned on. But what I want you to understand, and you probably caught this out, you know, right off the bat yourselves, is in any other contest that we've ever had, we had points for PB. Now we're getting points for subscription because they're saying, you've got to be really focused on why this is even part of our business model. And guys, this is what I love about this whole plan is because it is a business plan. This is not just a contest. This is a business plan setting you up for success and for a future. It is a business model saying, if you will become an expert in these buckets with these very easy, simple systems, and you will duplicate that, you will have a business plan that can take you anywhere you want to go in life. And it will set you up financially for any way that you want to serve or bless or give or go and do or dream up or create. And so they're setting that up and they're saying, if you'll be consistent, if you'll show up every day, if you'll set your subscription and have that subscription on and consistently take it, then you're going to be good at this. So this is what I want you to hear is that for the majority of us, we might have $100 PV subscription set up. For you to get credits, you have to be at a minimum of 150. So that could be adding the product of the month into your subscription. We have a brand new product launch that some of you guys are getting to hear all the goodness about. That might be adding that in. But I want you to think about this, and I'm going to give you a takeaway tonight that you're going to really look at this for your whole team. But I want you to think about that for yourself, so that you get these credits. The majority of us that are doing these, the majority that are growing a business, we're adding in some other supplements outside of Triplex to where we're hitting these numbers. Where it comes into play is your wholesale ambassadors that aren't doing the business. And all of a sudden they decide, I want in on this. I want in on this contest. I want in on these fun things. Their subscriptions need to already be set at 150 at a minimum to get anything in that one quarter, whatever quarter we're on. So it's things to think about. Like I said, we're going to come back around to it, but that's what I want you to hear more than anything is that, yes, you need to be set for that if you want these credits. But two, you need to really be forward thinking and proactive with some of your current wholesale ambassadors that you're thinking they're going to want to get into this, or they're ready to start growing and sharing a business. Because if they don't have it for all 3 months of that quarter, of that 90 days, then they're not qualified, if that makes sense, for the prizes. So working through those different pieces will be the areas that we want to look at. Does that make sense? Oh, Stephanie.
So you're saying to be qualified for prizes, or just that chunk of points you need to be at minimum?
The chunk of points, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I feel like, let me see if there was something else I wanted to say towards this subscription. I think it's going to be in the homework piece, or just some of the checkpoints that I want you to look at. But I wanted to make sure that you understand. Oh, this is what it was. Okay. The big question that we've had is, can it be multiple subscriptions in a month? Like a lot of people, you might have two. Like I was talking to a Jewel today that she has one that comes out on the first of the month, but it's a small subscription. And then she has a second one come out later in the month. They are only, it has to be a one-time subscription. So January, they're going to allow it to be multiple because we just rolled out. So January will be your only month that if you have two subscriptions that come out of your account, but starting in February, it's got to be one subscription with a minimum of 150 or a minimum of 200. Okay. So just make sure you think through that piece, because if you're used to having two, to break it up in some way, you need to pull that together. So you might need to change your date. I don't know, but you need to be thinking about that, because it's not a multiple subscription. That's not how you get it. Okay, the next area that they're going to look at is your rank and your re-ranks. You get the 50 points or ranking up, and then you get 25 points. And then we also get maintaining. So this really goes into consistency, like Chris Rude, like wore it out in 2020 with Consistency Club. Can everybody give her a shout out? I mean, everybody applaud. Woo, 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 woo. Unbelievable. So that is really this of hitting rank, keeping rank, really being consistent in your business and growing your business, not going up and back and up and back and being that seesaw, but really having proactive tasks, building relationships, cultivating those relationships, having those value-added conversations so that you're maintaining as you go. So you've got the points there. And then of course the team development, you've got your level 1s and 2s. And we're going to talk more about that in a minute. So, and we've got some tasks that we want to do for homework in that. And then of course you've got your prize level. And I want to talk a little bit about this, and we'll pull it out more as we go into the next little area of this. But you've got basically 5 levels every quarter of hitting, and it goes up to 2,500 points. And then of course your 6th level goes into that area, which is your top achievers of moving into that space. So you've got the 500 credits, 750, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500. I'm going to show you a couple of different models towards that. And I really get excited about this because, like I said in the beginning, this is a business plan. If you're only looking at this as contest, number one, it might wear you out. Number two, it might make you have unhealthy business practices. But if you look at it as a business plan of 90-day focuses, not, Eric Worre always talks about 90-day pushes. And a lot of us have done training with him. I know whenever I first started, I did his 90-day pushes, and which is awesome. But we are going to start kind of growing up as business women and leaders to look at it not as pushes, but as focus. And we're looking at longevity, that those quarters move into years, okay? And those years move into longevity and really strong foundational businesses. So looking at that, but I really want to show you a model of what you make financially. So you get all these points, but I want you to look at what that computes to of what you're bringing home, because those are really big deals, right? Because we're looking at the fullness of the growth. So to be qualified for any prizes, You have to be commission qualified. And there is compression. They are putting compression into place. You have to have your annual membership, and then you have to have the 100 PV, okay? The 150 PV goes into if you want those credits, to be able to receive those credits. Okay, so anybody have questions around that? I'm gonna stop share that, see if we have anything going on. And if y'all have anything, y'all can also put it over into if you think of it while I'm talking, you can put it over into the chat as well. Okay, so I want to make sure that I've hit a couple of things to make sure that we see it all. Power of 3 is going to be a really, really big area. So that, once again, we've talked about Power of 3 for the 7 years I've been here. My first training, I think Michelle is on here. I can't see her face. I think it was Sheila Medina that taught us on the Power of 3. She was the first diamond ambassador, I think, with Plexus. And we've been talking about it ever since. And 3 and me, like, we know all that duplication. We're still working towards that. You can look at 3 ambassadors, 3 customers. You can look at 6 ambassadors. You can build your equation in your map of what you want it to look like. But it really is the power of 3 with retention, okay? And developing your people. The other thing that I really want you to look at is the mind shift. We've already talked a lot about that, of mind shifting, of retaining and becoming an expert at customer service, an expert at cultivating and developing relationships. We are in the relationship business. We've always said that, but I don't know that we fully understood what that means. And relationship is conversation. It is getting to know someone. The people that I've kept for 7 years are the people that I know who they are, what their kids are doing, what they've been doing, like what are their goals, what's going on, what's painful to them right now. I mean, literally had a conversation with a client today that has been with me for a couple of years. And she's in the hospital right now. I was about to tell you what happened. I don't need to tell you what happened. She's in the hospital for an accident that happened. And we've had a long conversation. I'll probably take her, something over to her house. Like, that's relationship business. People that you don't know, that you come to know, that you cultivate with, that you get to know them because you're excellent at customer service. How many times do you hate calling and getting an automated line, and you have to push numbers and you never get to talk to a human, and you really need to have a conversation just to figure something out, and you want to scream? We don't want to do that through our texting, through our messages, through our voice clips that they can only get. We want to build to where they like us, they know us, they trust us, they refer people to us, right? Because we're so excellent with them, we're going to be excellent with the next person that they love. So that is super important to be able to see that. The mind shift with Plexus perks that we talked through in onboarding. So I want to make sure that we know all those things. Okay, so we're going to go on to the next one. Let me share my screen again. And I promise I will not sing to you. Okay, here we go. Let me see, guys. Okay, y'all can see this, right? Yes? Okay, perfect. I'm just going to leave it like this because it's just us. I don't have to be perfect with this. I want you to see this from this standpoint, and I will give all credit to Brooke Hemingway and her team, whoever made these beautiful things so that we could just grab them. But I'm just going to go through this and show this to you one more time for you to be able to see it from this standpoint. I will put all of this on our page so that you'll have it out there. So another thing about that first enrollment of them getting those 25 points. So maybe you have someone that's brand new, or maybe you have an ambassador that's been with you for a year or 6 months and they want to start sharing. They're going to get that big incentive of the 25 points right off the bat. So being able to see that. About the retention and the subscription, of understanding the points that you get for that, of your level 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's how far down we're going. The one thing that I want you to understand and is, for so many of us, depending on how, your organization, we all help all of us. And so I want you to know our commitment that we will continue to business as usual. We will help the people that want to grow, no matter what level they are. But this is how we get our points in this business plan, in this contest, okay? Is to be able to see it in this way. And then the retention, see the difference between, usually it was like we got, oh, that's what I want to talk to you about. I'm so glad that I use these weird words and then I remember. But what I was going to say is that we front load and we recruit and we get really big points and then we don't retain. Now we recruit and then the big points come the second and the third month. But with that said, I don't want you to miss this opportunity of front loading at the beginning. Every one of your quarters, your very first month needs to be massive month for you. Because when you recruit those people, you get more points on those people your second month and your third month. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So heavy in your first month and continue recruiting in second and third, but second and third for what you do in month one, you're doubling your points in those next 2 months. You're going over that. So big deal. And also retention is the only area, like after your first quarter and we move to second quarter, we wipe the slate clean. Retention is the only area that those points are going to come over into that next quarter. So like in March, all those people that you recruit in March, you'll continue with retention points in April and May, okay, for their second and third months. Everything else is wiped out. Everything we start over again, except for that. Does that make sense? Okay. Then the other thing is the rank up, the re-rank, and the maintain. Being able to yourself rank up and then also help your level 1s and level 2s to be able to rank up. And then the big piece is maintaining. So sticking there, building that team because you are retaining your people and you're adding to that and being able to do that. And we've got systems in place. We're going to be talking about that. And then here are the levels and the prizes. Now, the things that can change about this, every quarter will probably be different prizes for sure. So those things will adjust. The points, I don't know if those points are going to change or if they will. I feel like that they're going to stay that way. One big question is we will definitely, second quarter will in some way kind of dovetail into convention. So those prizes will look like something for convention. And then we'll also in fourth quarter have a focus towards leaders retreat in some way. But outside of that, that's the only kind of, it's not even an adjustment. It's still the same plan. It's just that there's going to be a focus towards what those prizes are. Does that make sense? The other thing that I wanted you to know, and it's been a big question that I have gotten today. So in my corporate call this afternoon, it was a question, two areas. The first one is jewels cannot unlock until level 3. I think that that's a really, really big deal because a couple of things. What was shared with us is whenever you pull the jewels out of level 1s and 2s, thousands of more ambassadors are able to step into those prizes, which is super crazy to think about. So they move us out of the way so that literally it's the biggest playing field. And then we can step in at level 3. So we have a lot of work to do. This is what I love about this is that I think that you know that any of your jewels that are in your upline of your organization, we work the business. And there are some jewels that are blessed because they have lots of other jewels. They're going to have to work their business if they want to go and get any of these prizes or be in the top 50 for Paris and things like that. So I appreciate corporate towards that. You know, whenever I first started this business, I highly appreciated that we only got paid 7 levels down. That for some reason was important to me because it's an integrity thing. Nobody could say that this was a pyramid scheme. Nobody could say that just because I started and I was at the top that I was going to continue to move up and nobody could pass me. I could have rock stars that were in my organization that were 8s, 9s, and 10s, and I don't get paid on them. So I didn't keep going up because of them. That was a big deal for me from an integrity of me being able to be very strong about the way I did this business, why I do this business, and that I'm not cheating anyone. I'm working it and I'm helping other people work it. Does that make sense? And so I love that as much as I would love to unlock at level 1 and 2, I greatly appreciate what corporate is doing for the whole of the field. And that's a really big deal. The second thing that I've gotten some questions on that I wanted to, and I'm super excited about, is whenever they talked about the top 50 and that the top 5 non-jewels would be a part of that. One of the first questions I had was, well, that's kind of a bummer because 45 people, I mean, only the top, there's only 5 that are possible non-jewels that will be part of this. Guys, like literally every one of y'all that are on this call right now, you will be a jewel prior to this contest being over. So for you to go, I already feel like I'm out of the game, that I'm not even gonna get to go to Paris because only 5 non-jewels are gonna be in the top 50. No, because you're doing this business plan, because you're engaging in these quarterly sprints, you're actually set up to be a jewel. How many of y'all on this call right now have already committed in November and December to be Emerald by July? Raise your hands. You're already, do you see what I'm saying? So those things are exciting to me. Don't look, you see that as a positive because you're actually growing into those positions. Now, the third question, I thought I only had 2. My third one that I'm just now thinking about is a lot of people have said, if I become a jewel, which you will, because if you're committed to it, I know you've spoken it, but now let's put that into action. If I become a jewel in the midst of this contest in 2021, does that mean that I can't hit level 1 and 2? I only unlock at level 3. If you are currently a non-jewel and you become a jewel, they will allow you the privilege to unlock at 1 and 2. So you will still get to open up every one of those prizes. I think that that's super, super cool. They really want to invest in you and they want you to be excited about the fullness of what can happen. So those things are a big deal. Okay. Any questions around any of those pieces? This is how a new person earns 530 points. We're just going to walk through this super quick. This is month 1, month 2, and month 3. I am going to put all this information so you can really study it, but 530 points in your first quarter, okay? So this is in first quarter number 1, and of course you can do it every quarter, but it's really towards quarter number 1. And if you look at this, month 1 and month 2 are the only 2 recruiting in this model. They're the only 2 recruiting months. Month 3 is really maintaining, retaining your positions, all that great stuff. And it's developing one level 1 silver, okay? I love this because when we're brand new, when we're just getting started, it's not like we can do 6, 6, and 6. I mean, some people can, but there's a lot of models out there that are like, you know, add 6 and then develop 4 and then do this with your level 2. We just need it simple. Like, I just got started. Like, help me just know how to do this, okay? And I love this one because all of us, we grow and then we have to learn how to maintain and take care of and steward. And then we grow some and we maintain. Now, am I asking you to stay at this level? No. What I'm trying to show you is that wherever you are, that you can do. I don't know your days. I don't know your work schedule. I don't know who you're caring for, but anybody can do this business and participate in this contest. And with 530 points, if you look right here, you hit that $100 spot. If in your third month, you continued to also recruit and you added on 2 more of the developing 3s, you would actually be at level 2, okay? So I want you to see those things. But the other thing that I want you to see is we're talking credits here, but this afternoon I took this model and looked at what does that mean that you make over this period? You make $4,220. So for any of you that are saying, okay, I love this contest, I appreciate what you're doing, but I'm just getting started. For many of us, we're starting because we financially have a need. So I want you to see the joy of engaging in something fun, of getting excited and challenging yourself and getting accountability and kind of running after things that will give you recognition and gifts and opportunities. But I also want you to understand that if you focus on growing your business, it's more than just credits. When you do anything this year, which it's always been every year, but with us looking at these 90-day focus points, the growth that you do of growing your business and maintaining, retaining those people, you are blessing your family. You are providing for your family in ways that you couldn't have done any other way. I know when I started this, I had a full-time job and I needed more money. So whether you have 0 job and you need money, or you've had a job and you need more, because life is expensive, the goodness of this is showing you something in a 90-day focused push, but what it does for you as a blessing. So it would be $4,220 with all your bonuses, with all your pay points, with all your silvers or fast start silvers and all those different pieces. But you would actually be going from 0 of I just started to 2 people away from senior gold in 1 quarter. Now think about that if you did that and you consistently did it over 4 quarters. Do you see what that does? Do you see how that builds up because you only grow what you just did? So I want you to see the fullness of not just credits, not just prizes, not just I'm going to dream big and go after Paris as hard as I can. Not of I'm just going to go after that $1,500. I'm just going to go after that 5, whatever it is, that laptop. I want you to see the fullness of, oh my goodness, like it's going to take care of some needs that I had. It's going to grow me. And if I can consistently do it over 4 quarters, look at what that looks like for our family, right? Look at what that looks like for our future. So I don't want you to miss those opportunities. This is the other thing I want to talk to you about. I've seen this all over today. It started with corporate. When corporate did their live this weekend, this was one of their charts. Brooke Hemingway has trained on this and the excellence of how she trains on it, but the numbers were a little bit wrong. And so it's not $29.95 credits. It's going to be a little bit less than that. I did not have time to work through that, but where I want you to see it is that in this, if you are playing with this, which is awesome, I want you to know that the bonus for enrolling, it was a stacking bonus on here and it's only 25 points. So I adjusted that in your month 1. And so it adjusts your total credits. And so it's going to adjust across the board. So I just kind of want to bring that to your awareness, that would look a little bit different as you're mapping. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So let me, there we go. Okay, let's come back over here. Any questions around any of those pieces? Okay. So let's talk about homework. Y'all have probably watched a live. You probably have already done a training and now you jumped in here. So we are just like going over this and over this so that we can build a plan. And I would say really start putting pen to paper, Really start thinking about what you want. Think about some of the people on your team that are growing a business, partner with them, figure out what their desires are, and partner with them in it. Make sure that you're asking them their desires, not what your desires are for them. That never works well, right? Ask them their desires and then support them in that. Okay, so this is what you need to do first. A couple of things that I want you to write down. The first one is I want you to look at your level 1s and 2s. Now you can go deeper than that, but in the contest, it's your levels 1s and 2s. I want you to look at who has hit a rank and they lost that rank. So their numbers came down. You can look at your team points. If you go into your back office, you can double click on team points on your genealogy, and it's going to show you, and you can also do it by rank. So you can click on rank, find out who these are, write them all down. Why don't you give them a call? We have a lot of people that go silver and then lose that, or they might hit senior silver. It is a recognized rank now. So go and look at all of your people that lost rank and write it down. And I want you to encourage them. I want you to share a little bit of this with them. Don't overwhelm them, but ask them if they've seen it. Let them go watch the live. Y'all watch it together, have conversation around it. So check on them, see if you can help them maybe regain that position. The second thing is I want you to look at all of your 1s and 2s that they've hit a rank and they're working towards their next rank. I want you to call them and I want you to talk about mapping out with them of how they can get to their next rank. Can it happen in first quarter? Can it partially happen in first quarter and move to second? I think any rank can happen in first quarter if you're moving and you've had some momentum, right? So building out that plan for those people is your second thing. The third thing is I want you to look at your customers. We have a lot of customers that maybe just do a probiotic, or they just do ProBio and BioCleanse. I want you to write down those people and I want you to call them and I want you to share with them our new product that we're going to find out over the weekend, or I want you to share with them the product of the month and tell them why MetaBurn is so great, because we want them to hit that 75 PV. Because if they're under 75 and they hit 75, they can be seen as a new customer, a new preferred customer. So make sure that you're having those conversations, okay? The fourth thing is I want you to look at all of your ambassadors that don't have subscriptions turned on. And I want you to do some mindset work on why you have a fear of talking to them about their subscription. Because I want you to call them, check on them, ask them if you can help them with their subscription. And you're going to do that by the way of free products, which is our Plexus Perks program, and that you want to help them get consistent and you want to help them get free product. So you're going to help them do those things. You might want to adjust their regimen. You're going to put on your advisor coaching hat and you're going to call them because you want the best for their health and their well-being in 2021. Amen. So if there's something that in you is going, oh my gosh, if I call her, she's just going to quit completely. There's no way I can call her. Or I have an imposter syndrome that she's going to think that I know more than I know and I don't know anything. You need to work that out. And I want you to work that out with the model that we talked about in all of 2020. My training is out there on our page in the units, which is what's the circumstance? The circumstance is I need to call all of my ambassadors and talk to them about turning on a subscription. And you need to say, what are my thoughts around it? You know, I'm scared that they're going to turn off their they're going to turn off and not take product at all anymore. I'm scared that they're going to tell me that they have 6 months of product in their cabinet and they haven't used it at all. It's going to make me feel like a failure. I don't know what your thought is. I want you to write it down and I want you to say, how does that make me feel? It makes me feel like a failure. It makes me feel like I shouldn't be doing this business. It makes me feel like I don't ever want to reach out to anybody else because I just can't get it right. And then I want you to talk about what action do you take because of that? And we need to do a mind shift. We need to do a mind shift of what it can look like on the after side of that. If you do know how to have the confidence to have a conversation with them, if you have experienced success yourself and you're going to tell them your story and how you do your regimen, and that's going to add value to them for them to do their regimen, right? You've got to flip it to where you have control of your business instead of your business having control of you. And if your business has control of you, it's probably going south, even if it's a slow ride, right? You take control. And so work through those pieces. I also want you to look at their processing days, and I want you to write it down in your calendar. I want you to make a spreadsheet. I don't care how you do it, but I want you to go into your back office on every one of those processing days and see if their subscription processed. Is it a declined credit card? Did it not go through? Does it still say fulfilled? And maybe you need to call customer service and see if something happened. Did it expire? You need to figure that out because this is your business and you're putting the work in because you have plans for growing your business and impacting lives. So that's number two. And then the next thing is making sure with your business builders, if you have anyone that is wanting to do this business, January, they need to have that subscription with the $100 PV in it. Because if they don't have, one of those qualifications, that's how they're able to unlock the prizes. Okay. Now they don't have to have the 150 unless they want those 20 points. Or the 200 gives them 25 points, but for sure to be qualified, their subscription has to be on with 100, okay? And then we are gonna really, really, really hit home. So that's 5 areas that I'm asking you to, how many people are gonna take control of their business and look at the 5 areas, okay? And then lastly, the retention is gonna be critical. The onboarding, the follow-up, the 3-month commitment, the Plexus Perks program, and excellent customer service. I'm going to go over it again. Onboarding. But guys, we train on this area all the time and we'll continue to because we all need to continue to hear it, but you can't blow it off. In December, I did inventory of all of our organization because that's my business, our entire organization. And I called people about how they're onboarded and they're not. I ask organizations, do you send out welcome pack emails? And they don't. I ask clients that I called to check on and said, hey, I'm Melissa Shaver with Plexus Worldwide. I just want to talk to you a little bit of your satisfaction on our products. Did they get follow-up? No, they didn't. People that were ready to quit that said, I think I'll try another month or two. Will you help me? Absolutely, I'll help you. I want to help everyone, but I want all of us to get to the place where we all want to help everyone. That we don't make an excuse or that we don't let fear get in the way, that we recruit someone and then our confidence is gone and we think we can't keep them. You're skilled, you're gifted, you have the experience and the equipping that you do. If God called you into the business, you can do it. Do you need to grow in those skill sets? Maybe so. I did. Do you need to be developed and matured in certain ways? Yeah. But you can do that if you just put a little bit of effort towards it. So I want us to make sure that we're doing that we're sharing with them whenever we're recruiting, that we really want them to do that 90-day commitment. I never don't talk about the 60 to 90-day commitment. And I explain to them why. For so many of us, we're fearful of doing that because we're thinking they're going to say, then I'm just not going to do it. Maybe they become your $75 customer. You still get credit. But whenever you set them up for success and whenever you share with them, I know you can be successful if you'll be committed, if you allow me to work side by side with you, if we look at your regimen and maybe make some adjustments, work through the detox. But if you'll help commit, I know that we can do this. If they can't commit to that because of fear or they're not trusting yet, they can be a preferred customer, right? So be smart about that, because as a preferred customer, you're still going to give them excellent customer service. They're going to fall in love with it and you can upgrade them. There is no fear in any of that. It's a mindset. It's a mindset and it's a posture that you have to have towards it. So make sure that we're working on all that, and we're going to just continue massaging that, working through it, measuring it, questioning it, all that good stuff, because we are going to be the organization that retains. We're going to be the organization that it's ridiculous how low our attrition is, because we're going to get really, really, really good at customer service. Amen. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Perfect. Jody, that's awesome. I don't know if y'all are looking in the chats, the dry erase board.